This is probably the most difficult video I've ever made. Oh my god, I can't watch this again. This looks like Shinshan did her brows. This is a lesson learned. Why did I do this? Hi guys, I'm Sachi, and for those of y'all that don't know me, I work as a content producer and makeup artist here at Glamorous. So skincare tips, unique life hacks and makeup tutorials are a staple here on our channel. But today we decided to do something a little different and take a walk down memory lane to one of our most controversial videos ever. We're here to talk about my infamous microblading procedure that I got done about 2 years ago on the 9th of October 2017 and answer some of your most asked questions that we get on that video right up to this day. So this is as honest as it's going to get, so buckle up and get on this mysterious microblading journey with me. So microblading is basically a semi-permanent tattoo technique used to create the illusion of fuller and more well-defined brows. First things first, who actually needs to get their eyebrows microbladed? We're going to see what the doctor has to say, and I'm going to give you my own opinion about that as well. So let's jump in. As of now, I have makeup on my eyebrows, but naturally I have very sparse eyebrows. I look so different with my eyebrows not done. I've almost forgotten what that looked like. It takes me anywhere between 10 to 15 minutes every morning for me to fill in and shape my eyebrows, and it's become a very tedious process. So just to give you a background of that eventful day, I had extremely sparse eyebrows, as I'm sure you can see in the video, and no matter what I did to them, castor oil, coconut oil, it was impossible for them to get thicker or fuller, which is why I decided to go in for this treatment. I don't really have a history of thyroid in my family, but I think genetics has a very big part to play in this. Both my mother and grandmother have very scanty eyebrows, and that's why I'm super excited to get this procedure done. So as you can see, I was super excited to get this done because I just wanted to cut down on those few minutes that we take to get ready in the morning. Little did I know that this was probably the worst decision of my entire life. So as I was informed by the doctor, there are 3 key steps before actually getting into the microblading procedure. So that's what we're going to watch right now. The first one being numbing my eyebrows. As you can see, an anesthetic was kind of applied to my eyebrows, left for about half an hour or 45 minutes, after which she said any pain or discomfort that I would experience would go away. So now she's actually using a brown eyebrow pencil to sort of outline the entire brow so I get the shape that I desire. And I can already see that the inside of my eyebrow is too close together and so unlike my natural shape. So next we come to actually choosing the color for my eyebrows. So on that day itself, I remember being very confused when the doctor picked out a super dark black color for my eyebrows, and I remember asking her to mix in a little bit of brown because as a makeup artist, I know that our eyebrows aren't actually black. They're generally a darker brown or light brown depending on the color of your hair, and that's what I had asked for, but I wanted to believe that the doctor knew what she was doing, so I went ahead with it. So now we can see that she's finally started the microblading procedure, and right from the first stroke I could tell that the numbing cream was absolutely useless because the pain was unbearable. And as you can see, the doctor is going over and over the same place with heavy strokes of the needle in spite of some bleeding, which I later learned must absolutely not happen. So now that I'm looking back at the video, I can already see that the strokes were very long, thick and unnatural. There was no shading involved whatsoever, and the doctor was very heavy-handed, because of which it was so painful. And now that we're at such a crucial part in our microblading process, let's get into some of the comments you guys have left behind on this video. So the very first comment says, very bad result. I don't see microblading result. I see micropigmentation. Spoiled the poor girl's face like she has taken a black crayon and painted her brow. Pathetic. I sadly couldn't agree more. It actually looks like a throwback from the 90s where I have sketched in really thin pencil brows. And as for the micropigmentation, I did a lot of research after, and I actually agree that this kind of technique would work for micropigmentation, which is done around your hairline to make it fuller and more even, but it's definitely very unnatural and artificial for your eyebrows. So the next comment says it's better to wake up 10 minutes earlier in the morning and do the eyebrow makeup rather than suffering this pain. More than that, it looks artificial. Once again, it is super artificial and unnatural. Unfortunately, I have to agree with most of these comments. And the funniest part is, I still wake up 10 minutes early and do my eyebrows to cover up this mess that's on my face now. So the next comment actually says, this looks like Shinchan did her brows like he did his father's brows in one of the episodes. So as soon as I read this comment, I actually looked up this episode, and we're gonna throw up a picture on the screen so you can compare my eyebrows to Shinchan's father's, and let me know in the comments below if we actually do look alike now. So the next comment says, I think it's painful because blood was coming out. Now this is just one of the hundreds of comments that I got saying there was blood coming out and there were tears coming out and it was an absolute mess, because it was. And this is a great opportunity for me to tell you guys that if at any point you want to get this procedure done and there is too much bleeding or it's extremely painful, then it's probably not being done the right way, so stop it right then. So the next comment we got was actually from a microblading specialist in the UK, and she said this absolutely made me cringe. Me too. First of all, microblading is not semi-permanent. You will have something on your brows even if it's a year from now. Secondly, where are the strokes? This is a block tattoo. The poor girl is going to end up with green bluish brows in a few months. Microblading mimics your natural hair growth. This completely ruined them. I absolutely have to agree with everything she just said, starting with the fact that this is probably not a semi-permanent makeup procedure, because my eyebrows till date do have a bluish green tint to them, which is why I can never leave the house without actually having some brow product on them to actually cover them and make them look like my natural hair color. Secondly, it is supposed to mimic your natural hair growth, which it absolutely doesn't. It doesn't mimic the natural strokes of my hair. It's completely ruined the shape of my eyebrows, which were much thicker. And it's also a block tattoo, which is true. It looks like it's been drawn in with a Sharpie, like I said before. And there's not much I can do about it now. The next comment says, it looks like eyebrow stamps, to be honest, because it's jet black right from the starting point of the brows. Had the doctor left that region little sparse and light, it would have looked good, considering the curve and length was perfectly done. Semi-permanent ink was the saving grace though. Like I said before, turns out it's not semi-permanent. It's been about 2 years and more and it's still around and hasn't faded whatsoever. And I would slightly disagree with you because the curve and length is not what I expected it to be. It doesn't match the shape of my natural brows at all, and if you look at them very closely, the two of them are actually not very even, one being slightly bigger than the other. And it is jet black. As I mentioned before, the color wasn't a good match at all. It was too harsh and too stark for my hair color, and people naturally don't have black brows, so that didn't work out at all. So the next comment says, it's so badly done. It looks like someone just colored in her eyebrows. They are supposed to look feathery and blend well into your natural brows to the point when it's hard to differentiate between what is real and what is tattooed on. Microblading is a great technique for people with scarce brows. This doctor just had bad technique. This is so true. I think I've seen so many microblading procedures done on Instagram and YouTube where people with really sparse brows got beautifully well-defined, fluffy brows but still natural. So this doctor really had no idea what she was doing and tried to get it right, but turned out to be an absolute disaster. And like she mentioned, the brows need to look natural and feathery, which is absolutely not the case with mine because they look like straight blocks from the front, especially towards the starting point when they should have been curved out into feathery strokes. So the next comment says, Bro, there's blood and she's teary. What's the point of numbing? Please stop selling anything for promotion. Now, just to make it clear, this video was not a sponsored video or promoted in any manner. I had really scarce and sparse brows, so I wanted to get it done, and I was under the impression that if I went to a certified cosmetologist, it would be absolutely fine and I would get those perfect brows I wanted. But I was absolutely wrong. And the fact that there's blood and I'm teary, that actually happened. It was so painful that I cried almost 80% of the procedure, and the only reason I went through it was because I thought I was going to have amazing brows at the end. So it's so super important to make sure you choose the right doctors and certified tattoo artists when you're doing your brows or any sort of makeup procedure for that matter. To sum this video up, let's just talk about the irony of it all. I wanted to get this procedure done so I could cut down on my get ready time in the morning and flaunt beautiful bushy brows just by themselves every single day. But here I am spending a significant amount of time on the daily trying to clean up the mess that was left behind after I got my eyebrows microbladed. That being said, microblading isn't a bad procedure in itself. It's just super important that you choose the right people to go to, because I clearly didn't, and that's why it turned out to be such a mess, because she had no idea what she was doing whatsoever. And I didn't make this video to discourage you from getting such cosmetic procedures done, but it's super important to do the right research and to go to the right people so you can achieve those perfect results that you've always wanted. And until next time, stay tuned and stay glamorous.